We are live because hi everybody. Sorry my issues here. Um when we premiere a live stream is a little bit different from normal stream. So instead of just streaming normally from OBS, we have a new button that show up uh, in the YouTube studio. So now seems everything is working. So we have here Alison. Hello, Alison. Can you hear us?
Sure. Hey guys.
Vinicius. Hi, Vinicius. Can you hear us?
Yeah, hello everyone.
And we have Lucas. Hello, Lucas.
Hello, hi there.
Hi. So the idea is uh, analyze the options we have today for create this board. Actually, I asked ChatGPT to create a proposal, like a image for this idea, and it create a board, but not the way I was willing, was expecting. So I modify it a little bit to people have an idea. So we have a base board, and we can just exchange the CPU module, like in this picture in the um, uh, YouTube stream. So the idea is to replace it.
Hi
Okay,
Alan, I just have one question. I'm
right.
not sure if it's just for me, but when I open the YouTube, I cannot see actually the content you are
I stream.
streaming on this. Yeah,
Okay, now I think now is okay. So yeah, let's keep this way initially. So we have here the picture of everybody. I think it will update for you in YouTube now, right? Yeah, not yet.
no, at least for me, I see your mouse, but I cannot.
Uh,
mm,
I need to double check because here
Click.
in
Maybe you can click again on the Alan's screen that we can see because the layout changed a bit now.
no, but yeah, it's in JIT is a little bit different, but in I think in YouTube I can see there is everybody there.
Okay, great.
Yeah, me, you, Lucas, Alison. So let's focus here first in the page description. Can you see now the only the page, only this?
Yeah.
Okay. So the initial idea was to have this device. I saw you send a proposal for other device. I think we need to discuss um, each device we need to test are the most important or more most used. Um, these are the basic device that I propose we use. For example, UART for the NuttX shell, another UART for GPS or GNSS, and a third for US like Modbus RS 485, and also I2C or I2C for EEPROM, accelerometers, and other sensors. Also SPI, uh, SPI or SPI for NOR flash. Also sensors, many sensors also are in SPI. And also we can use SD card over SPI. It's a normal feature on NuttX that many people use. And also LEDs, buttons, PWM, for example, to control motors or um, buzzers, and
Uh,
also go ahead.
oh, sorry, interrupt you.
Mhm.
But I guess we need to put for modems, for example, LTE, CAT M1, sort of like that. I guess is a useful peripheral, sorry, user full device, and this device use the UART. So probably it is important we have one.
Yeah, good point, Alison. Maybe we need another UART here with the flow control, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, good point. Um,
Considering we need to another word for RS 2232. I guess it is important too because we have some device it's not using TTL
mhm.
communication. So I guess it is good to have one this for thermal prints, for example, using this protocol for UART. And other ones.
Yeah,
I guess we only have 6 UARTs on the microcontroller that we are planning to use.
yeah,
Mm,
And the
I see.
problem could be the alternative function maybe won't be enough for everything. For example, I know that was a bit complicated when I tried to have several features
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time the UARTs because the alternative functions usually they are shared between the other features that we also
Mm-hmm.
like, such as the SPI.
Yes. One thing that I think that it is important for us, it is think about how the main board will work about automated test.
yeah,
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and
exactly.
start from the base board. For example, if you are thinking about using the STM32, I don't remember the full code that we are thinking.
Mhm.
Will be this the main processor of the base board? This is the first thing that we need to to think about it, because for example, how we can test the 24 parallel LCD. An example, we
Mhm.
should use in an LCD panel, okay? But oh, how Alison said, a modem used in serial art. Okay, but we will use a modem to test, or we will use the main processor of the baseboard to test the serial. What we would do? We would do an automated test to test the full compilation of the device of the data on test, or we would like to test all the peripherals and external peripherals.
Yeah, good point, Lucas. One thing we need to keep in mind is why you are creating this NuttX standard board, and
Perfect.
yeah, one of the things we put here as goal is actually to make it easy to test this feature on NuttX, because sometimes someone submits some commit that can break some peripherals, some features,
Perfect.
and we sometimes we never discover that issues happen. We discover it too late, and when they discover it, probably the device is broken for weeks, months, or in some case, for example, like the audio tone generator, it was broken for more than 1 or 2 years, if I'm not wrong. Uh,
Perfect.
and then we need to think like this module, this CPU module, as something that you can plug later in a automatically testable board. I think this was the main point why um, I put these initial basic features here, because I think that these are the most common things that people are using. But of course, some people will want to use more than some people. You need to use other peripherals or sensors that we don't have in this initial board. But the point is, we need first to think how to test the board, how to make it available for testability instead of features. So one
Alan,
thing.
I have one question.
Mhm.
Uh, is it possible to have kind of a seal environment here for test it? Uh, Kind of a software components, something like this?
What you mean? Create like the testing framework, like we have robot in Linux.
No, I mean, yes, could be kind of the code by the code we can do auto tests.
Yeah, we don't have it yet on NuttX, and one way to do it is create like a unit test for hardware. So it's possible to happen later, and yeah, I think it's possible. And but let you go back now, Vinicius, just to initial question that points that Alison and Lucas are discussing about the features. Alison, for example, here I put UART for RS85, but it doesn't mean it is only for this purpose. So we can create like a connector with the available pins that you can use later for other application. But the main idea here is to guarantee that RS 485 is not damaged, for example.
Mm,
And
I
then,
got it.
yeah, for example, in this baseboard, we can have something to make it more expandable. For example, imagine we have like this UART with flow control as well. So we have it only to initially we thought have only TX and RX, but we decide to include the flow control in the third serial UART port. So we can connect this serial port to like the um, microbus, micro E, microbus,
Hmm.
yeah,
I got it.
adapter. Yeah,
Uh,
this way we can
one,
test many more devices, right?
sure, absolutely. I fully agree with that. I guess it is important to we have in our mind. It is maybe we not have it, the whole peripherals or sensors that you want to test. So we
Yeah,
can simulate those sensors. We can simulate some protocols. So
yeah.
it is possible because I'm working in some this implementation, not in
Mm-hmm.
NuttX, but it is possible we create some automated script for simulate some sensors for like uh, temperature, humidity, and also we can simulate some protocols. We don't need to implement the fully stack,
Yeah,
but we can just confirm. Okay, I can send, I can receive, and I can confirm if this frame is correct.
yeah,
If it's correctly, we can pass this test and move on.
yeah. That's a good idea and a good point. For example, imagine we have this other adapter in the board, like this microbus, and then um, we can create like for example, a microcontroller with the I squared C slave, and you can uh, uh, put this board like simulate uh, a pressure sensor or any other sensor. So this way, the
Yeah,
yeah for the main microcontroller, it will be like he's talking with a normal sensor, and yeah, it will be enough to test many features, right? We don't need to have all the
e-
sensors. Yeah,
exactly. And also we don't need have it the wheel because we already have some softwares and free software for test or simulate those protocols.
mm-hmm.
For Modbus, we have free Modbus, for example,
Yeah,
and so on.
yeah, good good point. uh
okay.
yeah.
Uh, just a simple question
Mm-hmm.
about the market. Okay, we can see that the micro E board, baseboard, and out peripheral boards are almost everything that we need to check the development. We have peripherals in ITC, SPI, and pressure sensor, everything that we need.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have the baseboard that connect everything and already is done. And the question about don't use the micro E base, it is just to be open source.
Um, I think your question is why don't you just use what exists instead of create the.
Yes. Basically, it is. But I know that we need to do everything open source. Okay, but we can, for example, choose an micro base board and check if everything that we would like to test is there,
Mm-hmm.
and then adapt it to be open source. That's okay. This is there isn't any kind of copyrights, I think, about it.
I have one point, but I think it's like what Alan is trying to do here is literally like this, no? Because basically we are checking our needs, uh, the most common peripherals that we are using, the basic test that is possible to do as well. And we also, like you said, okay, let's check for the market what we have. I think it should be good if we can discuss everything that Alan prepared here, because I mean we didn't check the whole list yet, and we are stuck on this side, because I also agree with a lot of things for the kind of Alison said for the moldings, for RS232 and etc. But probably I think we also have to discuss about another thing, that is how can we make it easy to do. So because in the first proposal, Alan, I saw that you put only one connector. It's like this, right? And I'm not so sure, but probably should be good to spread it in more connectors to be more easy to implement and to be more user friendly as well.
Uh,
So I'm not sure
yeah,
what you think about it.
yeah. Actually, Lucas and Vinicius. Uh, First, why you want to create this board instead of just use some external modules? Um, of course, it's good idea to use these micro bus modules for flexibility. But the point is, we need to have like a small subset of features that we can include in this baseboard, and also make it more expandable using like microbus and other more micro mod from Spark Fan and others. So the idea is to have these basic features that our our baseboard can test, and have some expansion to make it test other sensors that we don't have in our board. So this way you can plug, for example, like Alison said, we can plug GSM modem in the microbus connector and we can test it. But the base features that we have here will be testable without people buying external microbus modules. So the idea is to have this as an expansion. And Vinicius, yes, the initial idea is to have, like I said, we have two connectors. This is the base, and these are the advanced features. So if you look here, these pins definition are for basic or essential connector. It's like the initial connector with 100 pins. And then we have this other here that we didn't define yet what you want here. But I have some proposals already. For example, what could be in this second connector? Things that people are not using all boards, or not all microcontrollers have it, but more high-end microcontrollers we have, like USB device, I2S for audio, USB Rust, USB host, CAN bus. I think maybe CAN bus we can move for the base because today many microcontrollers have CAN bus. Ethernet, parallel LCD, cameras, the real SD card using SDMMC bus or SDIO bus, the quad SPI for NAND, for NOR NAND flash, and I don't know why I put it twice. Maybe I forgot to change it here. But
But Alan, my question in the end is like this. For example, think about the user. If we consider Arduino, for example, this,
mm-hmm,
I mean, it, before Arduino was one thing, and later it was another thing because a lot of new joiners could easily connect sensors and etc. I think
yeah,
we could create something similar. For example, I'm not sure if it's possible or not, but for example, something that when I develop my stuff here, I miss a lot is okay. I don't want to connect a lot of jumpers on my embedded system. I would like to stay everything closely to, as much as possible. For example, okay, I have to connect the SPI bus here. Yes,
mm-hmm,
but would like to connect on 3v3 instead of 5 volts. Then I can just have a jumper and select the voltage level for this bus. As well, in the same pinout, alongside I could have the chip select and the interrupt pin. I know it's not every SPI that we need to have the interrupt pin, but it's just an option. And
mm-hmm,
if the user don't want to use it as a SPI, I can use this input for another stuff that he wants. So I'm just thinking about the design as well. I would like to, in my mind, I imagine the NuttX world as much as possible user friendly as well. If possible, let's create a hardware that is very user friendly, and then everyone can, oh, I can choose NuttX, I can choose this board because it's quite simple to integrate my stuffs there. This is something that I have in mind. I'm
mm-hmm.
not sure if it's possible, but maybe I would like to share this idea with you guys.
Yeah, that's also is a good point because um, the idea is to have it as a basic board for testability is the first purpose, but also it can be a useful board for practical development, pragmatical development. So um, we can have the first step is we can have the basic features in the board that can be used for testability, and also we can have this extension. For example, we can have a standard connector like the microbus, and also maybe we can have um, um, like a Arduino form factor to people plug some uh, existing
Shields.
shields, Arduino shields. So it's a good idea as well, right? It's a possibility to explore. But I don't know the complexity because Arduino um, is a little bit more rigid about it. So when
Yeah, but we can just, I mean, we can create the NuttX style for these shields as well.
yeah, true. But okay, let's move on. I want to discuss another point now that Lucas suggests about the form factor. For example, for the connector. Uh, Initially, my idea was to use 100 pin connector, like this one that's used in the Raspberry Pi CM4. But then we realized it's very difficult to solder because it is zero point 0.4 millimeters, and then we find another one from TE that is also 100 pin, but the pitch instead of zero point 0.4 is 0.8 millimeters, so it's easier to solder. But also we have the possibility to use the like the sync memory, right? Um, Lucas, you already use it in some products uh,
Yes.
some board, right?
The biggest problem that I see, how we would like to that everyone could assemble the board when we use an SMD connector with a lower pitch. The problem, if we use just one connector, that's okay. The problem it is when we put two or more connectors that
Mm-hmm.
we can keep aligned and solder them aligned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the this is the worst thing that we could do
Yeah.
trying to solder. It is trying to align two connectors in SMD, and usually they are on the bottom of the board. So I think that
You
is
mean you mean for wave soldering?
no. We need to use the iron solder. Let's think that we are trying to use to do the handle assembly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I suggest it is, for example, the Toradex models use the Soldin connectors. It is, I don't remember if it is from the DDR2 or DDR3 memories. It is just the baseboard has the connector. It is 200 pins.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 100 on the top and 100 on the bottom of the board. Okay, and the base connector it is easy to solder. Okay, I already soldered by the hand without any kind of problem. And all the CPU models we send to we buy the PCB with the castellation. I don't remember, it isn't castellation, but there is another name that they plate with Enig, the Enig
Yeah.
finish superficial board, and works very well. And we just have problem soldering the base connector, not the models connector.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it is a little bit expensive,
Cool.
produce the board, the
Mm-hmm.
CPU board, but it's not nothing that will kill us.
Right. And also you mean this connector is more expensive. Uh, this soldin connector is a little bit more expensive as well, right?
The soldering connector it is cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Okay,
Oh,
all the word we use.
okay.
Do the PCB will be a little more expensive.
Ah, okay. Because
Aha,
they
PCB.
need. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, because they
and the
need just this.
castellation.
Yeah.
I have one question. How about the other side of the connector in the end? For example, we have the connector in the board. Okay, we are kind of routing everything to the connector. But how about the user point of view? How will the user use this connector?
I didn't understood the Vinicius.
For example, maybe let me try to take on board here.
Yeah. Uh, uh,
Okay,
yeah, just
so,
say
so once,
I just want to say hello to Rodrigo. I just saw him here. Hello, Rodrigo. And uh, yeah. Thank you for coming here. I don't know if you can listen. Yeah, I think he has some.
yes, we can listen you.
Yeah, he has some connection issue. Okay. So sorry to interrupt, Vinicius. Go ahead.
No worries at all. For example, this is the nucleo, and then
Okay.
we have the connector, this header pin. We can just use these wide jumps. But in our case, how the user will use the connector to access it and put the sensors and etc. It's
Okay.
kind of do we need to provide a cable, or I mean, I'm not so sure if it should be a good option.
I think that we should think about the CPU with baseboard connector and a user expansion connector.
Yeah.
So, for example, when I talk about this kind of connector, it is just from the DUT and the baseboard. And what you said, for example, to the user connector, I think that this kind of connector that you showed is perfect because it is cheaper, easier to assemble by hand soldering, and everyone with jumper wires. I am like you, Vinicius. I don't like a lot of wires flying over the board, but works very well if nobody touch it. And
and, and there is no wind near you.
yeah, uh, I think that the worst problem that we need to think about it is the dirty and the baseboard.
Yeah,
Um, we could, for example, even use a connector like you show, Vinicius, that is pin header, male and female on the board. The the unique thing that I don't like about previous experience that I had, it is when we to put the dirty on the baseboard, it's perfect, works everything. The problem it is when we try to release the dirt on the
yeah.
baseboard.
To remove
They
it.
are very grippy, and
Yeah,
usually when we can damage the dirty board.
yeah. You can damage because it's very difficult to remove it. I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know if you remember, but I think I put it in the comment. The Freescale actually implemented it some years ago. I think I comment here. It's they create a solution to use the Codefire and also the SO8, so the people can change the CPU board. But they use this kind of connector, like Vinicius was showing his board.
yes. Oh, Alan, I remember the older free scale kits, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I have some issues here because my I cannot see image of everybody. But can you listen? Everybody can listen me correctly.
Yes,
Yeah, we
Okay.
can see you and listen you properly.
Strange. You just say
yes,
we turn off some people image to economize bandwidth. Yeah. So Lucas, the problem was exactly that we put the code file. When you try to remove it, you end up damage the board, damaging the board.
yes. This is the question. We also, for example, we've had some kind of space. We could even use the ESA or even PCI connector, the old
Or the model.
times,
Yeah.
but works if the objective it is just have a device to test. Isn't a commercial product, so we can even use this connector because they are true hole is to solder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the complexity it is just on the dirty.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot keep it without some board for a long time, otherwise you have much dust inside, and it can not work very well after some time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But one thing we need to verify, Lucas, is the cost of this connector because, as you know, the old PCI is not produced anymore. They are not used currently in the desktops. So
Okay.
yeah, so when the technology become not very widespread, the costs will become very high over the time.
Yes, I'm looking now at internet, and it is about $4 at the
For
AliExpress. It's
okay,
not so
right,
expensive.
yeah, but try to find now. Let he search here in the Mauser, for example, is like a commercial
Okay,
PCI
let me check.
connector. I found PCI Express, but we need to use the older is the regular uh, PCI connector, right?
Okay. Uh,
I have another question. So will be just this two connectors. So
Sorry, Vinicius. Can you repeat?
we
Repeat? I was looking here.
yes. Oh, sorry. Yes. Because I think if we have more connectors, could be more easy to alter since everyone not have so much time. And I think just thinking about for the PCB designs as well and mechanical design, maybe it should be more user friendly to have more connectors. Not sure if it will impact too much the price. I don't think so, but probably could be good to have instead of a two with high dense uh, pinout, we could have three or four. Then we can spread a little bit more the connectors around the board.
Yeah, but the idea is to have like a small CPU module that can be used in the board. Because imagine if you put many connectors, your CPU module need to be bigger, and then it will use more area in the in the baseboard. So I think it's better to use or a single. I think Lucas found it. Uh, just have
Connect.
a single connector with more pins, like the soldin, as Lucas said, or at least two 100 pins connector, as I suggested in this page, in
Yes.
this design.
Okay. Okay, I follow what you mean. So for the motherboard, it will be the high density the connector,
Yeah.
and in the daughter board, then we can have more connectors to be more user friendly, like this.
What do you mean by daughter? Because we have the base
For
and the
example,
CPU modules.
yeah, 1 second. It will be like this. This is our motherboard, and we can on top of this attach the other one. So and this one that we will attach on top, then we can have the user friendly space.
But this is the this that will be over the baseboard is a small board, is the CPU board. Maybe one thing you can think to put there, maybe some USB for. Uh,
yes, this is a question, Alan, that I would like to say. On the dirty, I will call the dirty as the CPU board.
mhm.
I think that it is important for the dirty, put the Ethernet connector. Okay, why? Because we have a lot of processors. Some of them use the reduced MMI, others use the full MMI, and some of them uses a file from a specific mark, others
Yeah,
from the other specific. So what I suggest, for example, on the DUTI, we put the Ethernet connector on the DUTI
yeah,
because it is almost specific for that CPU. I
yeah,
know that we could change the file to use from another manufacturer, everything, but I think that how Vinicius said, uh, if we put this kind of signals on the and put to the baseboard, the routing work will be hard, and we will be a little we can change the file for any kind of board, because one how we can
yeah,
use it two, three, four fives on the baseboard, and we have just one Ethernet. USB, I think that's okay. We put on the baseboard because they are just two signals.
yeah.
Think about USB 1 and 2.
Hmm.
About USB 3, it is another problem.
Yeah,
But I think that USB we can put on the baseboard, but Ethernet, LCD, and camera we should leave on the device on dirty because
I
it's
would say mainly the LCD.
Yeah, LCD because it is very specific.
Yeah. My initial,
So
yeah, my idea was put this signal in a second connector that could be, for example, this second connector is like an optional connector, because uh, some simple microcontrollers don't doesn't have Ethernet, does have LCD and so on.
perfect,
So we don't have so it will be like just a dummy connector just to keep the board in place. But
perfect.
yes, I think we can move some signals like Ethernet or so on to the CPU module itself, because it
Okay,
simplifies the process. Yeah,
the process. Okay.
yeah,
Uh, and another thing, let's first choose the connector. I send on the chat
yeah. I
the
saw
price
here.
of the connector. It is easy for $5. I don't remember now.
Yeah, and it is 200 pins, right? I see here.
Perfect. This is 200 pins.
Yeah,
Vinicius, as you said that you are afraid about routing the signals, at the company we use this connector, and we it is simple. We use this connector with a double side PCB. Okay, we just need to leave out the pins with 9 or 10 mils, and then we routing. The trick to use this connector, it is how we will spread the signals on the dirty on the device, where we'll put the power supply, how we will group the serials, for example, to spread very well on the baseboard.
mm-hmm.
Okay,
For the
we
high-speed signals, what I'm thinking here, we could have one GND every other pin.
perfect, perfect. Yes, this is the question. We need to be smart doing the pin spread on the of the specification, not on the connector, but on the
Yeah,
specification.
yeah.
Uh, and another thing that is important for us, it is we just use the 80 of the connector, but we can do a bigger dirty board. For example, on the size of the mobile. For us, we just keep the length of the connector, but specify a bigger board because we can put all the connectors that we would like for Ethernet, LCD, cameras,
Mm-hmm.
and the most important, we can route all the signals trying to use in a single double side
This is
PCB.
kind of the, I mean, you are telling kind of the PCM4, PCM5, and there is also the expansion board, the bigger one. So the PCM4 is just a small board, and you attach it directly on the bigger one.
No, no. I'm thinking that the PCB that has the MCU that we are testing, this for the specification, it is a bigger
Ah,
board.
the opposite. Okay, then it's
The
Okay.
the
Yeah.
opposite.
Yes, the enough to put out the special connectors, they enough to
Mm-hmm.
put out the special connectors. And if you are, for example, oh, but I'm testing at Mega 80, for example, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
All the board keeps without any kind of routing. The board today, the price of PCB are cheaper with the Chinese markets are cheaper. So I think that it is important that we have enough space on the dirty,
Yeah.
and sometimes we need something specific specific from a kind of let's for example, let's think we have a processor with external RAM memory and we would like to test. We have enough space to route and even use for 6 layer if necessary.
Okay,
But
I
keep
agree. I agree with it, Lucas. And also compare the price. This soldering connector has 200 pin, and it's low cost. It costs the price of one TE connector that has only 100 pin.
Because of the word uses, Alan.
Yeah, exactly. When many people are using some technology, some device, it becomes cheaper. So I just want to confirm if Vinicius, Alisson, and Rodrigo, if you guys agree, we follow this suggestion from Lucas instead of creating our board with two connectors, so we can just use one, only one.
For me, it's fine as long as we can have multiple connectors on the user side, because I would like to keep it as simple as possible for the new joiners and the users.
Hmm.
For the connection, simple is better.
Okay. Alisson?
Same thing.
Yeah. Rodrigo, I know your connection is not so good, but if you want, you can write here in the chat or
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear.
we can hear. Yeah. Do you agree?
Okay. I think that now that we agree with the connector,
Mm-hmm.
it is important check what we need to have on the baseboard and what we need to leave on CPU board. For example, the internet. I give my opinions why we
Mm-hmm.
should leave on the CPU, but I think that it is important. For example, let's keep just the how you said, Alan, just uh, the base peripheral labels, quadrature encoder. This this we will keep on the baseboard. Okay, and about, for example, I2S about sound. We use an external model that attach on the baseboard, or we put the codec on the baseboard.
Yeah, good point, Lucas. Because um, remember, if our idea is for testability, it's better to have a baseboard with uh, more signal external. So um, we need to have like I square S. We need to have the maybe even some pins that we are planning to include in the CPU module. In some way, we should external it for this connector as well, because uh, if someone decide to create um, the automatic test, these pins should be there to make it easy to test. So I don't know.
Alan,
I think. Hmm?
Okay, and why not just put, for example, a simple LED, a blink LED, the main UART, just this, and all the other pins, even for button or LED, we put as micro E for the expansion.
Yeah.
Because, for example, in a simple board, we just put this board in. We this is the thing. The trick is how we will divide all these expansions board. For
Mm-hmm.
example, we can use just a GPU general purpose connector expansion board, for example. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that almost everyone will have this expansion board with buttons and LED because this is the most simple that we have.
Yeah.
Okay, but if we would like automated test in a filter, for example, using software and everything, we release this board and we have access at almost all pins of microprocessor. I think that, for example, the baseboard we needed had the minimal hardware to device work. That is a CPU for the NuttX shell and a blink LED. And everything, for example, quadrature encoder. Almost every MCU has an input for this. Okay, and even that MCU that don't have we have by software implementation. Okay, but for example, this we can use if in a During device using automated test, we can use in a external processor given the pulses in quadrature to test and check. I don't know if I was clear about my
Yeah,
idea.
I understood mostly your point. Um, I don't know. I think we can do like um, mid ground in this case. Maybe we can include, for example, the LEDs, at least 8 LEDs that people can test the basic user-led features, 8 switches like to test normal GPIOs, and mostly other things we can put in microbus or other expansion connector. This way you can people can test, because imagine we can put some sensors, but it's not the real case for tests, because not everybody will test only these sensors. But for example, how we guarantee that SPI and I squared C is working using this baseboard if I don't have some other module to test there? Um,
Yeah,
mm,
yes, but this
I
is
have
the
one point.
point. Maybe an expansion board with the basic. For example, we strap a basic board on the baseboard with EEPROM I2C,
mm-hmm,
EEPROM SPI, for example, the basic. But
mm-hmm,
we know that if if we would like to test the basic build of NuttX, we need to have this expansion board, for example. But if we would like an automated test, that's okay. We just remove this board, and another CPU will communicate as a sleeve peripheral, for example.
mm-hmm,
I have one point here. Sorry.
mm-hmm.
Maybe can we try to think about the price, the target price, and on top of the price, you can try to evaluate it. Because let's say $50, $35. I mean, the Raspberry Pi ideally is always starting the price as 35. So I don't know what could be the target here. So let's
Perfect.
assume $50. Is it okay? So, and then on top of this, can we start to find for connectors, how many devices, and etc.? Because from my view, I'm thinking for other stuffs that could be very good. I think, like you said, Alan, in the beginning, I don't want to buy nothing. I just wanted to have the NuttX board, and I can cover 90% of the general purpose. I can test the CAN, then already have the transceivers. I can test Ethernet. I already have the physical connector and the other stuffs. I can test SPI and I2C with a lot of sensors. So as much as we possible within this budget, but how much is it? I don't know.
This is a good point, Vinicius, because I think that we should think about what's the end of this system. Because, for example, if we are thinking that we are doing a complex system to be sure that almost the all the peripherals that NuttX complains will work. If we are thinking about this perspective, I think that we shouldn't think about the price. Not we
Not so
shouldn't.
much, yeah.
I follow Alan, but in the end, who will buy it?
but for example, who will have this kit, this device on test kit? Every developer and anyone who would like. Okay, but I think that we shouldn't think that this kit should be like an Arduino board. That should be cheaper. I think that we need spend money to cover all the things that we really need to test. Because, for example, if not, we could keep using, for example, nuclear board, but we have specific tester just for nuclear board, and then we forget to test and peripheral that nuclear don't cover, for example.
Yeah.
uh, I
Well,
don't know, this is my thoughts.
Right.
I guess, sorry to interrupt. Just one comment regarding this topic. Uh, I guess we need to cover 80%, not 90%, for example, because uh, if you consider it that we have a giant board with so many peripherals, connectors, and probably we are able to test in this so quickly.
Yeah.
So we need to think ourselves this point. What it is important for final users? It is the protocols, the drivers. So which drivers is more common? I don't know. I cannot say that. We can search for these answers, but probably we still using the same protocols: I2C, SPI, and UART, which is serial in your variations. The Ethernet,
On
Wi-Fi,
wire.
yeah, one wire, and exactly. So those protocols are common. So probably we just focus in what it is more useful and common.
Yeah.
If
It
we
was what
start
I
to think,
listed in. I also listed this exactly like Alan also listed. The only thing I mean, for example, I agree. For example, I think LVDS is something that's quite rare to something use it. It's
hmm
something that I would like to have because for my personal purpose, and I know specifically people are also looking for it, but I agree. It's just 1% of the population that is using embedded
yeah,
system that's looking for the LVDS. I totally agree. But I mean, in the end, I also think we need to think about the price, just it. So
Yeah.
I
hmm
don't know how
yeah,
many we need to spend it.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, our prototype are expensive, but thinking for the target for sale, because I mean, should be very good if everyone that like NuttX can buy this board. I'm
Yeah.
not telling that should be so cheaper like Arduino it is, or maybe the same price as to buy a two nucleus. Why not?
Yeah.
Maybe it's possible.
Lucas, Vinicius, and Alisson. I have an idea. Let's see because we cannot cover all possibilities, and also we cannot
yeah.
put all the device because it will become very big and very expensive. Lucas, let's try to do it. Uh, what do you think about, for example, for I square I square C or I2C, we have one device that we search in inside NuttX and see, oh,
And that's simple
BPM,
EPROM.
yeah, BPM or EEPROM is the most used. All board they have this. So we put
Okay,
it in our board and keep the other I, I square C, I2C in a
Free
expansion,
to the user.
yeah, in the microbus expansion or adapter connector. This way, people can buy a microbus sensor that's not this one that we are offering, and then they put this connector there and test his I2S. Hey Tomek,
that's okay.
yeah, I
For
think
me,
this
it's
way is
fine.
better.
No, perfect. This is cheaper, how Vinicius said,
Yeah,
and we can test this basic functionality. That it is what Alison said.
exactly.
Almost everyone, almost everyone use I2C and SPI, the simple peripherals. That's okay. That's
Perfect.
okay. We can put this.
Yeah, so I think we have an agreement on that. Hello, Tomek. Uh, Tomek, I don't know if you watched the previous video in YouTube, but we discussed about suggestion how to create this board, and Lucas suggests to use the Sodin, right? Sodin, right? The Sodin
So
connector.
the DDR3
Yeah,
connector.
this connector used in DDR memory, so it's very cheaper. very cheap and very easy to find. And we decide to use one more common device for each peripheral. For example, let's suppose for I2C or I2C, the BMP 180 is the most used in all other boards. So we put it in our board and keep the other um, I, I2C bus connected to the microbus or other connector. Yeah, I think Tomek, like Rodrigo, was have some connection issues. Okay, good. So, okay,
Alan,
okay, go ahead.
uh, s- sorry to interrupt you, but we have a question from YouTube. So this question is related to the connector. Sorry to go back this topic, but I think it is important
Yeah,
uh,
put share it
someone
because
personally. Okay.
let's see.
Yeah, you can.
I think you can share your screen uh, to show
Oh, sure.
to show the the message.
If I share my screen, probably I share the YouTube, but yeah,
Only the YouTube question there, maybe, so we people
yeah,
can see.
sure. Okay. Can you see my screen? We'll double check.
Yeah, it's coming.
Okay. We have a question from I think is strictly. I don't say right, but it is when connectors are finalized, we can make many adapters from common board to NuttX connectors. Should
Yeah.
be simpler to make it double or triple M2 connector. It is a suggestion. And also we have another comment which is Raspberry Pi switch the new connector. Uh, sorry, Raspberry Pi switches to new connector because for PCI Express and USB 3.2.
Hmm.
I
Perfect.
guess if I understand well, he's suggesting for us some two or three connectors for the top of the board, and we can modulate this board using those connectors. Yeah, it is fantastic. We can thinking about
Okay.
this topic.
Like Lucas suggests a bigger module board. So in this board we can have a connector as well. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like Toradex, for example. I guess Toradex uh, manufacturing is more complexly, but it is easy to assembly and test and switch for different operate, not operating, but sorry, different models.
Okay. Yeah.
Also,
I understood the point, and yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Any other topic that we want to discuss?
Rodrigo just tried to say something. Alan, do you hear Rodrigo?
No, Rodrigo, can you repeat?
Yeah, I can hear you, Rodrigo, but Alan, I think, is not able.
I is not
Looking
coming
for the
here.
other question.
Try again.
yeah,
We can do a date for you to Alan.
Okay. I think now we listen you. Rodrigo.
Oh,
Yeah, it's strange. Why is only his connection is having issues here?
yes. I mean, listen you perfectly.
Only in my case, I cannot listen Rodrigo.
Just just tell and we can. Yes,
yeah,
for sure.
sure. Please.
Okay, maybe Rodrigo said, and then
Alan,
Luke, I
please,
don't know.
hold on 1 second.
Hold on. He will speak. We transmit to you the message.
I never saw it happen.
I I agree with you. Alan probably not listen, but Rodrigo, in resume, just say probably we don't need use the microbus. Oh, sorry, micro. Sorry, can you repeat?
Micro E.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So, Rodrigo suggests for us not using some connectors like microbus because it's very hard to find, the price expensive, and it's not so easy to find in some manufacturers, so farm manufacturers. So, probably uh, it is more interesting for us find some more something simple and cheap because we can cover the most of the connectors and sensors or models that we are having, which it is our commercials.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
agree.
also, Thomas say something in chat.
He
So
suggests to use more I square C connectors type, for example.
I was answering for him.
Okay. You can
okay,
answer direct here and so share with us.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can read this comment. Maybe it's not visible in.
Yeah. By the way,
You know,
maybe Tomek, you can try to speak
speak.
maybe the same issue like Rodrigo. You can when because here JIT say I'm turn off some features because uh, the connection is bad, and then he turn off the audio and video for me.
I think he's about to fly, right?
Mm.
He wrote in the chat, "Sorry guys, I will lost internet soon."
Okay.
Ah,
Okay.
he's on the train.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
what I would say it is now that we already agree with the connector
Mm-hmm.
and with the minimal baseboard peripherals,
Mm-hmm.
let's discuss in this week
Yeah.
and choose what we will put, what will not,
Mm-hmm.
and then we make another meeting with to see if everyone agree what we need to change. We already can have, for example, the size of dirty bird, simple things, and it even have a kind of an idea of the price to assemble a bird of this and check if it is in the requirements of everyone
Yeah.
about specification and about price.
Perfect.
That's
Yeah.
okay for everyone.
Agree.
Because else we will keep in talking. And I think that now it's time to stop, work about what we discuss,
Mm-hmm.
and return with a little polish thing.
Agree. Okay. My connection drop here. I don't know if in YouTube drop. I think it was only Jitsi.
No, don't worry. Let's discuss on keep this now modeling the specification on Discord, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and on next weekend we can make another meeting with something more Polish about the size, idea of costs, what we have on the main board, with which kind of expansion boards, like Rodrigo said, which kind of expansion board we can use.
Yeah.
For example, Rodrigo, we can use we can support Micro E and also Arduino. It's
Hmm.
cheaper to do this, for
Yeah.
Okay,
example.
okay, yeah,
Yeah. And
that's
And
okay.
another thing that we needed to think, for example, Rodrigo, Micro E expansion board, it is expensive for us in Brazil, but for everyone in the Europe, it is cheaper,
yeah.
Hmm.
more
Exactly.
cheaper
Okay,
almost than Arduino. So we need to
Exactly.
cover all the word solution.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's okay. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now,
let's.
now I can see Rodrigo and listen you. Now I,
Yeah.
I think my connection after I drop and go back is become
Uh,
normal. It's strange.
Perfect. That's it. Okay, let's keep in work at home.
Yeah,
sure.
perfect. Thank you guys very much. Uh, thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Alison. Thank you, Rodrigo. Also, thank Vinicius. I think Vinicius not here anymore, but thank you, Vinicius, for
Yeah.
suggesting. It was very useful for us. And yeah, let's do this way. We have now the definition about the the main connector, so we can define now the device that we connect, and also each expansion connectors we want to include in this board.
Okay, I will do some scratch over the week, and
Hmm.
we discuss again.
Perfect. Yeah, we can, maybe you can share a document in Google Docs or something.
Yeah, yeah,
We can help with there.
will be by hand.
Okay, no problem. Like take a picture and put there in the document.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay, guys.
Okay.
See
Okay,
you.
bye bye.
Bye
Thank you
Have a
bye.
guys.
good
Bye bye.
Sunday for
Have
everyone.
nice weekend. Nice Sunday.
Have a nice
Yeah.
Sunday.